Many of you may have seen the video put out by Shane Vance, future sheriff of Mitchell County, but if you haven't, follow the first link in the comments and then come back here. I won't be replying to all the points that Shane covered, but I do want to talk about several in his video. First, Shane doesn't say it, but often seems to be talking about flock in isolation within Mitchell County. He frequently talks about what flock cameras can and cannot do, and while it sounds like he's talking about flock in general, his statements frequently only apply to the LPRs that are known to be currently installed in Mitchell. The limitations he talks about don't apply to the Condor cameras, or drones, and shot detection models that make up flock's current offerings. Which is fine when speaking about the current cameras in Mitchell, but it paints a misleading picture of our presentation to the Mitchell commissioners. Our objections primarily are concerned with known flock abuse, vulnerabilities, and lack of oversight nationwide, and its possible impact on Mitchell and the surrounding areas. Our presentations and objections are more about where flock and AI camera processing is headed and a desire for openness within Mitchell regarding how the county monitors the people within its borders and shares that data with other agencies. Everything I'll talk about is covered by references on the Mountain Indivisible page about flock, which also contains copies of the petitions we've circulated to date. I encourage you to take a look for yourself, but don't stop at the references we've given. Keep digging and form your own opinion.
A lot of people have the misconception that we're just sitting around watching you drive all day long.
Everyone can ignore anyone who said that, but it's disappointing Shane would imply that we did, since he was in the room for our presentations. In any case, there are regular audits required by NC statute, which are intended to ensure that LPR data is used as intended, and we believe the results should be published regularly and publicly. In addition, everyone in Mitchell should be fully informed of their use. This protects law enforcement as well as the general public.
Caught 24 sexual predators in a 24-hour window. 1,000 to 1,300 missing abducted children have been located because of flock cameras.
Those are all good stats and good uses of a camera system. Regardless, our objection isn't with the cameras, it's with the insufficient oversight of the system and existing misuse and predictable future misuse of that system. And again, we're less concerned with Mitchell Leo than misuse literally everywhere else in the country, not least because while Flock says Flock employees don't have access to the footage, it's not always true.
A Woody police officer by the name of Bob Carter searched the Flock database 63 times last year for all sorts of things like person on skateboard or yellow truck. But the problem is, Bob isn't a Dunwoody police officer. He's not a police officer at all. He's Flock's VP of Business Development.
Though the concern about the possibility of local misuse is not zero. Give someone a hammer and eventually everyone becomes a nail.
That's what you can see standing on the sidewalk. That's what you can see sitting in a restaurant as traffic goes by.
That's all true, but most people don't have eyes that are connected to a national network database processed by AI. Except for these people, and a lot of what they're watching isn't private. That's also what a Falcon camera captures at dusk from behind, but in well-lit situations they see much more. How long until those are around schools, parks, and recreation areas in Mitchell? What many people don't know is that non-Flock camera systems, such as those at schools, gymnasiums, and businesses, can be tied into the Flock system.
The same Flock safety employee logged on and accessed a camera in the gymnastics room of the MJCC in Dunwoody. And as it would turn out, Bob is not the only Flock employee that accessed these gyms' cameras. Randy Gluck is also in the audit accessing these cameras on 3 separate occasions on 3 separate days. Between Flock employees, police officers, and names that I can't trace back to either organization, you can see the combined hours of these people watching strangers and children through this facility's cameras, including, but certainly not limited to, the pool, the Fitline studio, and the preschool daycare areas.
Let's get to the misuse of flock cameras. Yes, just like I said, where there's a human element, there's always going to be some misuse of any tool that we are given. 100,000 cameras and very few incidents of misuse. To get this information, it had to be reported as misuse. 1% of 100,000 cameras have been reported misuse from agents. 1%.
I'm curious where those stats came from. They're very similar to those quoted on Flock's own pages, and if so, I take those with a grain of salt. They frequently make assertions without any references, such on this page when they repeatedly mention 30 or 30 plus courts decided that Flock isn't mass surveillance, without any references to back this assertion up. In any case, if Shane's referring to self-reporting of abuse of the system, I would argue that most of the actual public reporting has come about because of reports by victims and from people and groups that have submitted Freedom of Information Act requests, not Flock Safety or its subscribers.
The question that they had brought up during the commissioners' meeting was about immigration, about how they're using Flock to track immigrants.
The only mention of immigration was in the list of documented abuses given by Leah Carlton, and those were examples of cases where various agencies had searched Flock without authorization from the municipality that supposedly controls that data.
Flock tried a pilot program with ICE, lasted about 3 months, and then Flock ended up dropping the program. It will stop. There are no federal agencies that are contracted, only local agencies.
While Flock have said they've dropped their own programs, that hasn't stopped that data from being shared in other ways. A number of agencies have been exposed for giving outside agencies and individuals access to their accounts.
There are 70 to 300 times a day that you're caught on camera, the average individual in the United States. Do you have an expectation of privacy on the road? The answer to that is no.
Again, it's not the camera, it's the abuse and lack of security and oversight.
Nobody can get into Flock and look at these images other than people that are paying customers to Flock.
While he mentions the security that's built into the system and admits he's not a computer guru, I am a sufficiently experienced computer person, and the examples that we've given and that you can find all over the internet are very much like Flock leaving the back door open. Anyone who only goes in by the front door won't ever know there's a problem. And yes, vulnerabilities are like a game of whack-a-mole, but you don't ignore them any more than anyone should ignore the abuses by people who have lawful access.
Also, very easy for the public to get on there and look and see numbers through the transparency portal.
I've been unable to find a public link to the transparency portal for Mitchell or the surrounding counties, and we're waiting for that link from the county. My understanding is it's up to the subscribers themselves to make these public, and so far, Mitchell hasn't done so. Everyone's familiar with product T&Cs or terms and conditions. Most people don't read them and just click through, which in many cases has no material impact on their lives, except when they don't expect it. Flock have recently changed their T&Cs. For example, the sale of data. Their previous T&Cs stated, Flock does not own and shall not sell customer data. That language is now gone. And if you've been a functioning adult in the last 20 years, that should tell you that they fully intend to, and probably already are, selling your information. Where you've been, what you drive, the list is potentially endless when they start buying data from the places you shop and aggregating that into a complete picture of your life. The new license also grants the company the exclusive right to determine and control the method, timing, format, and medium of access to the data that supposedly belongs to the customer. So when the sheriff requests information from Flock that the county has paid for, Flock reserves the right to control how that's supplied. Some reports have indicated that Flock has been returning low-res imagery without timestamps, which is a strange form of data ownership. The T&Cs now add a perpetual right for Flock to use customer data to, quote, support and improve its services. Sounds like a good thing. Who wouldn't want the company improving their services? Except Flock will tell the county that the data doesn't exist after 30 days, while still using and potentially reselling it forever, even if the county cancels their contract. There's also been liability changes. The new contract expands Flock's protections against liability for willful misconduct or gross negligence, potentially shifting the cost of data breaches and other failures from the company to the taxpayers. It also mandates private arbitration under Georgia law when there is a contract dispute, and makes it harder for customers to terminate Flock contracts, including when a town or city council votes not to approve a contract or fails to appropriate the funds for it, as nearly 50 cities have done in the past year alone.
If you're doing nothing wrong, you don't have to worry about it. Pretty simple.
Tell that to people whose plate is similar to a wanted person's that keeps getting pulled over because the AI can't tell the difference between a 0 and an O. Tell that to the Tennessee grandmother jailed for 6 months because AI determined she was a suspect for a crime and officials did the bare minimum of due diligence before having her jailed. Tell that to the Florida woman jailed for 13 days for a hit and run she didn't commit based on license plate data. Tell that to the accused porch pirate in Colorado who was harassed based on nothing but Flock video. With Shane's experience, I know he's familiar with how often people's lives and reputations have been ruined after they were jailed and charged for crimes they didn't commit, and how easy it is for that to occur, and how difficult it can be to repair that kind of damage. So if your argument becomes these mistakes will happen because police departments and DAs are overloaded, I suggest you make that argument and keep "if you've done nothing wrong" in the trash heap where it belongs.
Abducted or missing child does not have a price tag. If anybody argues that you put a child that's been exploited. If you can put a price tag on somebody that we can keep that from happening to, let me know, because I want to know what the cost would be.
I completely agree that every possible effort should be made to locate people who are in danger, but I don't agree that the answer is to take movements of every other man, woman, and child in Mitchell County and on a daily basis throw that information into what could only be charitably described as an AI information wood chipper.
As we walk around with surveillance in our pockets all day called a cell phone. All your records are on your cell phone. More records than these flock cameras could ever come up with. All your bank information is right there on that cell phone.
The potential for that is true. The reality is very different. This device, if the user chooses, is under control of the user. We do not have to put our banking information on the phone. We do not have to install any applications on the phone that we don't want. And we don't have to be tracked on the phone if we take the time to make that choice. Every modern cell phone is by default encrypted. If you take even a modicum of care in what you install, your phone and its data can be as private as you want. The difference here is that a small number of people are making that choice for everyone in the county. The message here seems to be that because some people don't care about their privacy, the rest of us shouldn't care about our privacy. No.